All right, guys, welcome to Farm to Export. This is the sixth edition in this series, and we are going to be discussing Southeast Nigeria export opportunity. So, like Farm to Export is a series of comprehensive export masterclass for farmers, and we have been focusing on how farmers can actually boost what they do on their farm for export, how they can structure, create workable plans, workable systems and structures for their farm so that they can export whatever they are harvesting from their farm. And we've also encouraged a lot of people who are also non-farmers to be able to turn whichever parcel of land that they have, maybe at their backyard or maybe a piece of land that they are currently not using, how they can turn it around and make something out of it that can be focused for exporters. That can be focused for exporters so that you can just use that piece of land at your backyard, plant something that you can process in small scale, and you can package it and you can start shipping it to other countries. So for this edition 6, we are going to be looking at southeast part of Nigeria, the southeastern region. And so for this southeast, we know that southeast includes Abia State, Anambra State, Enugu State, Ebonyi State, and Imo State. So those are the 5 states that we have in the southeastern part of Nigeria. Last week we discussed south-south. So this week we are looking at southeast. So just like in our previous classes, since we started discussing the various regions that are in the country, and one of the things that we always try to look at is how feasible you can carry out your export business for your farm in your state. Looking at the international airports that we have around and the seaports that we have in the state and in the environment where you are. So looking at southeastern part, we can't really pinpoint at a functioning seaport that we can say, oh, this seaport is actually where you can load all your goods to or all your harvest to, and you can ship whatever you want to export, and you can ship it from there. So in southeast currently, I don't think we can. I don't think we have that kind of airport for now that has that traffic, that can allow you to send your product like today and it gets there within the next 72 hours. So, but we still have some airports. We have the cargo airport. We have cargo airport in Anambra. We have a cargo airport also in Imo State. We have an airport in Enugu State too. So these airports, it's not like they are not functioning at all. It's not like they are not active, but they might not give you, like what you really need to serve your clients, in the sense that the traffic, if the traffic is low, even if it's not as much, that means you can wait a week, 2 weeks before a cargo plane lands that you can load your products on, or that can help you to freight your product to your client. And that is a lot of time that has been wasted. So that's just the thing about for the airports in the southeast region. So I know South South is close by, and the international airport in Port Harcourt, it has a lot of traffic that we can actually use for the for our shipment and our freight. So since it's close by, that's a very good option for those of us in the southeastern part of the country. So for these Southeast international airports and cargo airports, we can't ascertain the level of traffic that they have, but and also the case of the operational partners, if the traffic is low, the operational partners, the people that you need that could help you with your processing of documentation of the products that you want to ship out, they might not be readily available. The agents that will communicate directly, who knows when the different airline, different cargo planes are going to land, they might not be readily available because there is not much traffic in that region, in that part of the country. So those are the few challenges that you might be facing as a farmer that wants to process his or her produce from farm and export. So let's go into our next slide. So we're going to be starting with Abia State. So in Abia State, we have yam, we have rice, we have maize, cassava, we have taro. So these are products are, things that are already being farmed, things that are already being produced in the state for the livestock and meat. There's cattle, there's goats, and there's poultry. So as a farmer in this region, nothing stops you from actually exploring. Nothing also stops you from, still looking at how you can process what we have here on the list. So let's say you are planting cassava, you can convert or process your cassava into cassava starch. You can process it into cassava chips. You can process it into gari. You can process it into into the starch. So those are some of the things that you can make or produce with your cassava. Maize is also exportable even without you processing it. All you just have to do is to dry it to make sure it's well dried, and you bag it, so it's exportable that way also. So yam is also exportable depending on the location where it's going, depending on the country where you have a client. So that will be able to make you to calculate the distance, if the yam is still going to be good by the time it gets to your client, uh, or it should have spoiled. So you need to put that into perspective. Then rice, well, we have a lot of customers down here. Uh, we're a big consumer of rice, so I believe whatever you are producing in terms of rice is going to be bought and consumed right here in the country. So for Anambra State, we have yam, there's potato, there's okra, there's maize, there's kola nut, there's palm oil. We've laid emphasis a lot of time on palm oil. So palm oil is not complex to process. So one of the things about palm oil in countries like Turkey, Malaysia, Georgia, some parts of Europe, is that they require low cholesterol palm oil. So you have to make sure the fatty content of your palm oil is not that much. It's in its lowest, possible form. Then you can now pack or package it into something very unique, something beautiful. Uh, for export, you know. So for kola nut, well, kola nut doesn't need any processing, or you just need it to be a little dry. You can pack and you can ship it. If you are shipping kola nut, um, you can't ship it in a container because the humidity can actually spoil it. So what you can do is to, if it's very dried, and that dryness, that will be that you are actually supplying companies or factories who are going to process the kola nut they are going to take it as a raw material, as a feedstock for whatever they are producing. So the form of the nuts that you are going to be sending will be something that is very dried. It's not for consumers. It's not for someone to just pick it up and start chewing. So, but if it's something that's for the consumer that is going to be chewed immediately, you might have to use air freight and not sea freight for kola nut. Maize, you export it as it is. For okra, okra is a soup ingredient. It's one of those soup ingredients that that you can export to Nigerians in the diaspora. You can export to Igbos. You can export to Yorubas. Uh, so as it is, all you just have to do is to make sure your okra is well sliced and you dry it. Well, in drying it, you don't have to add anything. Uh, Except maybe you want to add a little salt, then you dry, and after drying it you pack it. You pack it into something presentable and you can send it to your clients over there. So for livestock, we have cattle, we have goats, we have poultry. So farmers in Southeast generally need to focus on feeding Nigerians in the diaspora with their unique spices and should produce more of those spices. So one of the things I looked at in the analysis of the various regions or parts of the country is that when it comes to south, they have these unique soup food ingredients that Igbos, Southerners in the diaspora are actually, they need something like that. There's a demand for those kind of unique spices in other countries around the world. And if you look out now, there are several young Nigerians, there are several of my mentees, of our students who have started to go into spices now, and they are producing well packaged, beautiful spices. And this is actually very important for not just Nigerians alone, for Africans in the diaspora that needs that kind of spices over there. Yeah, so that's very important. Then our third state, Enugu. Well, Enugu, they have yam, there's palm oil, there's cassava, there's rice, there's maize, there's taro, and under the livestock, there's cattle, there's goats, and there's poultry in Enugu. So, looking at the southeastern states, the first three we've looked at now, it looks like they have very high similarity or similar crops or produce that they are planting in that region, in that part, and the advantage of this is that the farmers in these states can actually just work together. They can come together. They can, work on producing a particular crop in large quantity for clients. So maybe as a farmer, you need cassava, and the quantity of cassava you need, you can't supply. Your output can't actually meet the demand, and maybe the output of all the farmers in your environment can't also meet that demand. So it's easy for you to just go from Anambra to Enugu or from another state and within the southeastern region and get other farmers to contribute, to assist you in making your supply successful. That's one of the importance of a class like this, because it really helps you to know where what is coming from the country, so that by the time you have an order, or maybe by the time there's something coming up and you need to start working on a client's contract or a client's order, you know where exactly you can get a produce, a commodity, or a partner to help you. So in Ebonyi also we have cocoyam, we have yam, we have maize, we have cassava, we have sweet potato, and we have rice. On the livestock side, we have poultry and we have cattle, which is just like what we've been discussing earlier also. So for the cocoyam, for the yam, for the cassava, we can process them into flour, we can process them into chips, and I think they can be consumed that way also, either maybe through uh, some little simple forms of preservation, and then you export. Like yam, for instance, there are ways to export yam. You can't just put yam inside your container and expect it not to spoil, or cocoyam or your cassava, so there are ways around the preservation and how you can allow this produce to actually spend a lot of time before anything like spoilage comes in contact with it. But that's not the that's not in the curriculum of our class today, so I won't be going into that. Then I think lastly we have Imo State. So for Imo State, we have maize, we have yam, we have cocoyam, we have palm oil, vegetables, and plantain in Imo State. There are three major agricultural areas in Imo State called Okigwe, Olu, and Owerri. And those three states also, they can really, if you're a farmer in those regions, in those areas, or maybe you are close to those areas, you have major partners or major people that you can partner with. So I know that not everyone attending this class right now is going to be a farmer. Maybe some of us are merchants, maybe some of us are just exporters. We are just looking at opportunities in the export sector. And one of the things uh, I can say is that if you are now living close to these regions or these areas, so it's just easy for you to move to that area and check out for farmers, check out for merchants, check out for exporters that you can form a close relationship with, or that you can network with, or that you can, start doing business together in one way or another. So that's also one of the things that you need to look into, that you can work with. So exportable products to actually consider when it comes to southeastern part of Nigeria. One thing you can put into consideration is plantain flour, cocoa beans, cocoa flour, cocoa butter. You can look into that area also in the southeastern part. Then rice flour, dried vegetables, spices, soybeans, sesame seeds, cashew. These are just some of finished products or products that you can process, that you can bring a unique product out of, that you can export to clients around the world. Then in the case of livestock and meat, we have dried meat and dried fish. Dried meat and dried fish. So operational structures in Southeast, there is a Nigeria Export Promotion Council office there. There's a customs office in Southeast. There is a CAC office in Southeast also. Um, SACO has no office, but for NACO, I've not been able to pinpoint the office, but there's also an office for NACO in in the southeastern region. So all you just have to do is to try to research and Google, just get where exactly the office is, so that you can visit them, discuss, know the information that you are searching for, maybe like the rates for different freights or for different products. Like NACO, for instance, you can get information like the kind of product that you can bring to them, that they accept and what they are not accepting, and the rates per kilogram. So depending on the state where you are operating from in the southeast. So what you should do with this knowledge, okay, so just like we've explained in other classes, one thing that you are supposed to do is to be able to design a framework of a crop that you have to focus on. So like in southeast, for instance, can you start uh, a, a ginger farm? Can you start a turmeric farm? Can you start a maize farm? Can you start a a spices farm or a soup ingredients farm where maybe you are planting pepper, tomatoes, okra, vegetables and the like, that you know that once you've harvested, you can be able to process and package for export to clients around the world. So creating a framework around this uh, will now help you to do your calculation as regards the time that you are going to spend on it, from beginning to the end. Like, when are you planting? What is the number of tonnage, like the quantity of volume of commodity that you are expecting from that farm, from the portion. Maybe your farm is just 1 acre, maybe it's just a couple of plots, maybe it's even more than 5 acres of land. So what's like the quantity of harvest that you are expecting? Now, after expecting, then how much are you spending on processing and packaging and all that? You need to put that into focus also. Then you now need to put your sales. How much are you selling, or how are you going to price the harvest, so that you can use that to have a projected revenue at the end of the day, or a projected profit. So that's actually something that is really going to help you. Then research your environment and nearness to ports and other operational structures. Like I said, knowing how close you are to the port, a very good port, whether a seaport or an airport, is very important when it comes to your exporting business, especially um, when you are a small scale exporter. That what you need is air freight and not sea freight. So you need to know uh, every information or details about it. Then this will also help you to put structure into place to attract the right export buyers. I've said it before that it's not when you design a framework for your crop and all that, and you plant, you harvest, you process. After processing and packaging the product, that's not when you should start marketing for an export buyer. You should start marketing from day one, from the time when you even start trying to plan out this whole thing. So that by the time you are exporting, you can have some set of prospective clients, people who are actually interested to buy that commodity, or who have been buying that commodity from Nigeria, so that by the time you harvest, you can have export buyers to actually ship to. And then schedule your farm process and journey. So everything entirely, you should be able to schedule them. You should be able to map out the systems and the structures that will help you at the end of the day, so that even before you harvest, you already have people who wants to buy your produce. This is very, very important. This is very, very important. So we've come to the end of series 6 of farm to export. So to have a more in-depth knowledge concerning small scale exporting, or what I call mini exporting, I've written a book titled A to Z of Mini Exporting: How to Build a Multi-Million Dollar Empire Exporting Foodstuffs. So I export. My company, AGX Africa Limited, we actually do a lot of exporting, commodities exporting, foodstuff exporting, and we export foodstuff every week. We export foodstuff every week. Our commodities export business it relies on several contracts and several uh, framework. So, but if you are looking into making a huge amount of money, at least in a month, let's say you are making about ₦1 million and above from foodstuff exporting, then you have to buy this book. Then this book is really going to help you to achieve that. The book is really going to help you to achieve that. But if what you are looking at is containerized export, big time export, using containers and all that, this is not the book for that. This is not the book for that. I have a book coming out very soon, for that, and I'm going to be announcing it. But this is for small scale exporting, and it is just 15,000 naira. It is just 15,000 naira. So trust me, whether you are in Abuja, whether you are in Port Harcourt, whether you are in Kano, whether you are in Abia State, um, or Lagos State, wherever you are in Nigeria, even in any country in West Africa, this book can help you to build a foodstuff exporting business. It can help you build your mini export business. So I've had a couple of students. I've had several students. In maybe I'm going to do a class, a short class just on the book alone and the contents of the book, so that I can use that to explain or to talk about the testimonies of students and mentees, uh, that are already making a huge impact when it comes to foodstuff exporting now. So want to use that to also encourage you, especially if you are affected by the ASU strike, by the ongoing ASU strike. This book is really going to help you. In fact, before you graduate from the university, you could have built a multi-million naira business from exporting foodstuff, wherever your school is, whether it's in the east or the south or north. So you have a shot at this, and the book is on Amazon, is on Seller. You can also contact me. You can just send a message to the Lagos School of Export Management phone number, and someone will respond to you and get the book across to you. So thank you very much and have a great day. So all your questions for this class or for any of the classes, please just comment in the comment section, ask your question, or comment put up your questions in our WhatsApp group or on our Facebook pages, any of our social media, and you can join the Farm to Export WhatsApp group and ask your questions, and they are all going to be answered. Thank you very much. God bless you.